Hey, hey.
You look okay. I know you're nervous because we're doing video, but you look fucking fantastic.
Do
Fantastic.
I look fucking fabulous,
You have the
Steve?
best eyebrows in the history of eyebrows, by the way. Now the whole world can see them. There they are, folks.
You know, I love that you even notice that. Like as a man, you notice that. How do you notice that? So many guys don't notice that. I have a lot of women that tell me that.
Because
But
most guys are looking at breasts, they're not looking at the eyes.
well, there's a lot to look at there, so maybe they get blinded by that.
Okay, for you people listening, we're doing video now. This is Cibeline's idea, but I want to tell you, hat, Indiana
Oh,
Fever,
okay,
WNBA.
cool.
Necklace and bands, Pinch, Northampton.
Ooh,
Shirt, shorts, socks, shoes, Vans. Boxer shorts, The Gap. That's it.
you're giving me a whole rundown on what you're wearing. I love it. He came dressed and prepared. I, on the other hand, didn't, especially. I'm just wearing like a cool yellow little sweatshirt that I enjoy because it's happy. It is so beautiful outside. I'm thrilled. I am wearing Look Optics readers because these are my faves.
Got my
You didn't,
glasses. Oh
yep, you
well.
didn't give a shout out to your glasses. I too have bracelets. I got two bracelets in Puerto Rico that were this little artisan that made these great little woven leather bracelets, and then I
Like
have
those.
my my chakra beads that join my chakras with white because I like to stay calm. And your beads, I know we all have our little charm
I'm
bracelets.
really, I really, I always wear bracelets. I like them.
And then guess what, Steve? I'm wearing booty shorts down below.
Booty shorts.
Booty shorts down below.
Well, I'm not going to stay. I mean, maybe I'll go back there and do a runway thing later, but I'm not ready. I need to loosen up a little bit.
So thank you and
You're
welcome
welcome.
to episode 35, everyone. I can't believe
Thirty-six.
we're at 30 shit. We're
6.
welcome to episode 36, everyone. Oh, right,
36.
that's right, because our 34 became 34 and 35. Right. Sorry.
There's
Sorry.
two things that people are starting to probably figure out about this podcast. One, it's really a comedy podcast. And two, it's also a sex podcast.
Jesus, you ain't lying. We do talk about this and that quite often, don't we? Okay. So I just wanted to do a quick little recap. I just had a lovely, wonderful respite, a little hot second away from reality. I went and had a little trip with my cue it up Syracuse girls, my Syracuse girls,
The
who
orange chicks.
fill
Can I
me
still
up.
say chicks? I can say chicks to you, right?
Steve, I want to say this. I'm getting sentimental. My girls that I've known since I was 18 years old, and I have been going through a lot of stuff this year. And when you get to spend time with people who have known you for over 35 years, like, or 30, let's call it 32 years, 33 years, they've seen every aspect of your life, right? Like these women have seen me as an 18-year-old just getting started in college, then meeting my, future husband, then having a business, having a baby, all the highs and lows that go with all of those life events, right? And the the words of encouragement and the words of kindness and the words of their truth that they shared with me about who I am to them, knowing what I've been going through, like that was just unprompted, right? Like these women didn't need to say these things to me that they said. And it filled my heart and it filled my cup up so much. And I mean, I could cry about it, but I won't. But like we laugh and we dance and we eat and we drink and we have a great time. But the friendship that is represented amongst this group of women. There was 22 of us this year. That's actually
Wow,
less than, yeah,
22?
22. We sometimes can have up to 27 or more. And
And
we
how
were all,
long has it been since you graduated?
I mean, 28
That's
years.
amazing that you could keep that many people together that long. Wow.
No, wait, it's not more than 28. Sorry, 32. I'm 50.
What
We
year did you graduate, Cibeline?
1996.
Okay, so it's been 30 years. I mean, 31 years.
Thank you. I can't do the math today. I haven't
I'm
had
not
enough
much of a
coffee.
mather either, but
31 years I've been friends with these women, and I've developed new friendships through other we were all sorority chicks, and we all came to Syracuse, and we all chose Syracuse, right? And then within that we went into the Greek system. And I know the Greek system gets a bad rap. I know sororities get a bad rap, but I'll tell you, these women are salt of the earth. They are friends for life. And as we've gone on this trip, this was our 25th trip. As we've gone on this trip, I have grown my friendship with other women that were friends of friends, right? Like, so I had my core friends, and then other people had core friends, and we all did this trip together because we're all different sororities. Like, when I tell you, it just, it's just so special. We have something special. And I think, I know we realize it because so many people are like, God, you have so many friends, you have such a good friend group. You know what, man? We found each other. The universe put us together. And these women all now know what's going on in my life. And like, I have a whole new, like, fresh support system, and that's really important. It's really important sometimes to tell your truth so that you do actually get the support you need. Because I wasn't sharing. I didn't have the bandwidth. I'm living minute to minute, day to day, all of the above. And when you share what's going on, good, bad, or ugly, you see who shows up. You just see who shows up.
where did you go?
Syracuse University, thank you very much.
No,
Oh,
no. Where did you guys hang out?
we went back to the beginning of where we used to do all this, which was Hilton Head, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
And the
Wow.
weather was absolutely spectacular.
Now, can we talk about what you were telling me about the photo that you received from a guy that you showed everyone? Probably not,
Uh,
right? Forget it.
yeah, we might want to. We'll table that for a couple months, maybe.
Okay. Sorry, but
Yeah.
that was so funny. I just had to bring it up.
Oh God, yeah. Oh God, yeah. It was redonkulous, is what it was. So
Well, I'm happy you're happy about that.
yeah, it was really special and much needed.
I was hoping to get some videos of the frat girls all drunk and everything, but that never happened, unfortunately. But I can hold my breath because I'm sure there's some out there somewhere.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one. Didn't I send you at least a picture or
Oh, you
two?
sent me a lot of photos, but everyone had their clothes on, I mean.
Yeah, well, we don't get naked, Steve. We don't like, woo, let's get naked in after hours
You
together
mean
and blow
all
up our
those films
pits.
I've been watching about sorority girls are not really what happens?
Oh boy. Yeah, that might be in your little
Joke,
fantasy world.
joke.
Okay. I also wanted, so today I just wanted to say, thank you to my wonderful friends from Syracuse. They have been lifelong, they have been a lifeline and a lifelong lifeline. How about that?
I want to
Um,
thank them also for putting my friend Cibeline in such a good mood and let them all know that I'm currently single.
all right, baby. I know Steve and I were talking the other day, and he's like, I might be able to hook you up with somebody. Let me look and see if I can find somebody for you.
I'm
And I
going
was
to
like, you
hook
know
you
what?
up.
We've never had that conversation.
Just
I'm
they'll
a
probably
really
have
good.
really hard fingers because they play an instrument, bass or guitar. I'm going to try and find you a bass player. Or there'll
Ooh,
be a drummer, and that means they'll probably drive you a little crazy for a while because drummers can drive you crazy. But, they know everything. The drummer knows everything.
the drummer sets the beat, right? I mean, and so does the bass player, of course.
A drummer once told me that they know everything, and I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Well, we sit behind everyone." But that's not what he meant. He was talking about how they can oversee everything.
Of course, no. Listen, I know music, and I know bands, and I watch and I watch and I watch and I see how important both the bassist is and the drummer, because the bass sets that boom 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 boom, right? He sets that, and then the drummer sets the beat, and then everything else is superfluous, right? Like that's what creates the song, but those guys are the foundation. They're the foundation of the house.
The rhythm section.
Thank you. That term I didn't have, but I
Since
had the other stuff.
since we have video, folks, I bet you I can say two words and it'll get and Cibeline's face will light up. Ready? Chris Robinson.
Oh, be still my beating heart. Tell me, what are you going to tell me about Chris
Well,
Robinson?
you know I gave you the scoop and it just finally came out, which by the time this comes out, everyone will already know. Joe Perry put together a new Joe Perry project, and Chris Robinson's the singer, and Brad and Buck Johnson from Aerosmith are with Joe, and then the rhythm section from Stone Temple Pilots. Yeah, it's a
Really
great
exciting.
lineup.
So is Chris Robinson going to be the main singer, or is Joe Perry sing, or
No,
what?
he's the singer. Chris Robinson's going to be the singer. And I don't know for sure, but from what I've gathered from my snooping around, I think they're going to do songs by all of those bands,
Oh,
which means there'll be some Black Crow songs and they'll be like you've never heard them before with Brad Whitford and Joe Perry playing guitar. It's going to be Arrow Crows, it's going to be wild.
if they do a bunch of their own covers, are you kidding me? Steve, I'm so excited. I can't handle it. And when was this show? It was like August
They're
something,
all
right?
starting in August. They're only doing like
August.
8 shows, and
Yeah,
one's
I
in
saw that.
Boston.
They're
One's in
coming to
Boston.
Boston, and then they're going to New Hampshire. So they're coming to Boston on the 19th, and they're going to New Hampshire Casino Ballroom, right?
I
On the
might have
20th
to
of
drag
August.
you to the casino, unfortunately. I can't stand going there.
Okay, I'm down
Camp,
with that. I'm
Hampton
down with that.
Beach, Redneck Beach. But you know what? For that show, it'll be worth it.
Listen, okay, be careful what you say. It is a bit of rednecky, but there's a lot of wonderful things about, New Hampshire. Yes, that town, it's been a little rough around the edges for
I
many, many
love
folks, right?
Portsmouth.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't hate New Hampshire, don't get me wrong. It's just that Hampton Beach,
yeah. I know. It leaves a lot to be desired. I know. But anyway, that is super cool. And you were telling me about like the fact that it's wait, some was there somebody from Cheap Trick and Extreme and Guns N' Roses,
oh,
or was
that was the Joe Janie's Got a Gun benefit show in San Francisco that all those people, Robin Zander and all those people, Nuno Bettencourt, they all played with Steven. That was Aerosmith
and
thing.
do
That
you
was an
think that that's
Aerosmith.
where they got the idea for this, maybe?
No,
Maybe.
Joe has had like a bunch of 4 records he's released as the Joe Perry Project, and he's had a different singer on every one. And the last time I saw the Joe Perry Project, Gary Sharon was his singer. But that didn't really work for me for some reason. I love Gary and I love Aerosmith, but together it just was weird.
Okay.
Chris Robinson makes more sense because blues-based rock is what we're going to get when and I don't and
Oh my God,
Dream's not blues based,
you just said my dream music. Blues based rock. Add a little southern swamp in there, and that takes me to church.
But I
It
wanted
takes
to
me to church.
just I don't want to hijack the episode like I do sometimes,
Yep.
but I wanted to bring that up because I knew that would get you excited.
And it
And
sure did. It sure did, man.
I'm going to try and keep it clean on this episode, so I'm not going to say what else I was going to say.
Well, I'm sure you're allowed to do that, but let me give us our agenda. So our agenda was that I was going to talk about just a little hit with my Syracuse girls who mean so much to me.
Bang.
Thank you. I wanted to just touch on the Janie's Got a Gun, Joe Perry project, because you did mention that. Boom, we've already done it. We're going to talk quickly about the Blue Ox restaurant in Lynn, the city of Sin. And then we're going to talk about Hollywood celebrity failed fashion brands because I heard on the radio the other day about some people talking about celebrities and all these celebrities invest in stuff, right? Like they all invest in stuff and sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. And we never really hear about the success. We never really hear about celebrities who start a business and then it fails, right? So I don't know, that sparked an interest in my mind when I heard this on the radio, and I did a little deep dive on that. So we're going to talk about that, and then we are also going to end the show by talking about the great British bands. And you feel that there are six of them. We started with four, then we evolved to five, then we evolved to six. So we feel that the greatest British bands in history are the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, the Stones, the Who, Queen, and Pink Floyd.
And then I added eight more onto the list just to let people know that I wasn't going to ignore them, but I'll mention them later. I'll just
Oh
mention them
gosh.
by name.
Okay, now he's gonna stress me out. But anyway, he told me at first to rank the top four, which initially we had as
Wait a minute,
Beatles,
are we doing
Led.
this now or are we doing this
No, no,
later?
no, no. But I'm just prepping this for people to think about.
Prepping it.
And then and then you told me to pick my favorite songs by those bands. And I take that very seriously. And then you
Oh,
also told me I had
yeah.
to rank these
Yeah.
bands, my top to my least, or my least to my top.
You
Oh, you
started
did.
this. You started this when we were talking about the four Seattle bands a couple episodes ago, and I said, let's rank them. So you were like, that's when an idea clicked in your head. And you said the British bands, which are my favorites.
Did
So
I? Okay, yeah. I guess so. Yeah, this originally started with Seattle, the four Seattle bands, and then somehow it evolved into the British bands. So now we're starting with the British bands first. We'll go back to the Seattle bands at some point. But I really wanted to talk about what were the four Seattle bands? Just give me that real
Pearl
quick.
Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains. But you know what
Yeah.
else I did for fun at the end of this? I put what I thought might be the greatest American bands and what might be
Whoa.
the greatest Canadian bands. But we'll get to that.
Whoa. That now you're like blowing my
You're going to
mind,
be
Steve.
surprised when you hear who I think the greatest American band of all time is. You will be surprised.
Okay. Okay.
It's not
All
Bruce
right.
Springsteen and the E Street Band.
What
I said
did
it's
you just?
not Bruce
Oh,
Springsteen and
I
the
was
E
like,
Street
if you
Band.
just told me it was Bruce Springsteen, I
It's
know how you feel.
not.
Okay. 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 Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, what, wait, what? I know that he feels that way about Bruce Springsteen's band.
Curveballs.
Okay.
Cibeline doesn't like when you throw a curveball. She just likes fastballs. She likes balls,
Oh.
period. But, that's a whole nother topic.
Oh, you're good, Steve. I have so much to say about that.
About
Um,
balls?
about everything you just said. I do like a fastball. I don't like a curveball. You're absolutely right.
I
What are
know.
the other balls? Blue balls. I definitely don't like blue balls.
Neither do I. I have them right
Oh,
now, as a
wait.
matter of
You know
fact, and
what?
we're only 10 minutes in.
I think I have given blue balls. How about that?
I believe it.
I actually know I've given blue
Because
balls.
when you
I've
were
been told
married,
I gave blue balls. What?
you were pretty trad wife when you were married because I don't see you. I would bet $1 million that you never even came close to being this cheating. That's
Nope.
not you. That's not you at all. That's
Nope.
not.
I
So
100%
guys
stay
like me would
100%
come,
faithful.
yeah, guys like me would come out at the Cibeline Boutique in Davis Square in Somerville and be checking you out. And there you go, the blue
I would
balls.
flirt with you. I have no
You
problem flirting
did.
with
You
people.
did. You did.
I told my husband that and he knew it, and I flirted with my friends, I flirted with, random people. I would flirt with women, men, it doesn't matter, but I never ever ever was unfaithful to my husband.
That's you. You've never been unfaithful to me either. You've been
I
100% faithful.
I'm a really faithful good friend.
I
I
know
am.
people are going to find this hard to believe, but we're just friends. I've had to fight her off a few times when she's had too much to drink, but it's been a controlled situation.
Oh my
I'm
God, you've
joking.
never ever ever had we've never shared more than a drink together, maybe if
We've
that.
hugged. I actually grabbed your butt once. I mean, what do you mean? I mean, it's been we've been friends. We're
we
friends.
we have been friends for a long time, and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful friendship, and we have gotten really close lately too, talking outside of the podcast. You guys, like Steve and I will talk for like hours in the afternoon, and he cracks me up. I'm just laughing the whole time. I
I
don't know if
have
you want to tell them why you make me
Well, I
laugh.
have to let you know when I get on the phone whether I've taken an edible or not before the conversation. And I think one day I did take one, and we must have had like a marathon. But it was one of the best conversations we ever had because we covered so many topics.
And we covered a topic that really, really intrigued you, which was energy vampires.
Are we going there today?
Well, I think we should touch on it for a hot second because it was so interesting to you. And we will do a deep dive on it the next episode or one of these next episodes. But I told you a term energy vampire and you were like, "What is that?" And I was like, "It's this." And you were like, "Whoa." And now you've been doing a deep dive and talking about it with other people, right?
Well, I screenshot this thing that I found called Signs of an Energy Vampire, and it's like the 10 signs. Should I tell the people what the 10
Well,
signs
no,
are?
because I think that would be a really good, but why don't you give a description of what an energy vampire is?
They
Do you have
kind of
that?
suck your energy out of you, I guess is the best,
Right. And
easiest
so
way.
yeah, what we discovered. So I told Steve is that like I discovered this term energy vampire. I don't remember who, where, when, but I do a lot of psychology, reading. I do a tremendous amount of self-help, self-care stuff. I'm just fascinated by all of it. And I came across this term energy vampire and I was like, holy shit. It's kind of like it's the narcissist, but and the covert narcissist or the grandiose personality. It's the personality of a person who you love and you want to be around, but they suck your energy and you leave them and you feel 100% depleted. You love being with them and you want to be with them, but afterwards you can't function because they've taken everything out of you. And we all have these people in our lives. And it's a challenge. It's a challenging friendship to have because I don't necessarily see them as only narcissists or only grandiose personalities or only whatever. It can come out in different ways. It can come out through drugs and alcohol. It can come out when they're not drugs and alcohol, right? Like, go
Plus, I
ahead.
was going to say that I'm really working hard not to interrupt you because I'm bad at that.
You
Um,
were really good with that right now, Steve. Thank you. I
I'm
saw you. You were
working
like,
on it.
I want to say something. And he
Can I
didn't, you guys.
Can I just tell you guys what a good friend is, people listening? A good friend is someone that can explain a flaw that you have to you in such a good way that you won't get offended by it. And Cibeline has explained this to me in such a good way that I'm very cognizant of it right now. Now, when she brought up Energy Vampire, I immediately said something like indie rock band from Madison, Wisconsin, because it's such a great name. And I looked it up and there's no band called Energy Vampire for you people in bands out there listening and you need a band name. Energy Vampire is all yours. But when I look at the list of 10 things, I realize most of my friends may have one or two of these things, or they may be borderline. So let me tell you that I don't think that these are bad people that you don't want in your life. If you have like four or five of them, then it's a real problem. But if you look at number one, they love drama. I spent my whole life in the music business. Everyone's full of drama. And I mean, but you go down the list and it's like it gets heavier and heavier as we go along. And if you don't want to do that now, we can save that.
I mean,
Be-
listen, we can go there. Like, we can just organically go there. Like, why not? It's
I
only
think we've
10,
made people curious.
Yeah, go ahead. Give the list. Give the list.
Number
I'm
one, they
sorry that
love drama. Number two, they bring you down. Number three, they exude charisma. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Number four, they guilt trip you. Number five, they prey on your kindness. That means if you have a lot of problems, you can call them up and they will, number six, they minimize your problems. Number seven, they minimize your problems. That means if you have a problem, they're like, well, my problem's bigger than your problem.
Or
Number
you're
seven,
or they're or you're telling them that your problem and they're like, well, wait till you hear my story.
that happens all the time. I do
All
that
the time.
too. It's not a good thing. Then they're codependent, which a lot of us are. Notice I said a lot of us are. They one up you. That's like, hey, I saw the Beatles. Oh, fuck that. I saw the Beatles and then I went backstage. Number nine, they don't take responsibility. Number 10, they can't enjoy the moment. Okay, now I know that I said that awfully fast, but there's a lot of things. The negative attitude, energy vampires often exhibit an overly negative or pessimistic outlook, making it difficult to engage in positive interactions. And you brought this up to me, and then I went over it with my friend Alvin Long one day, and we picked out a couple of our friends. And we figured out who the energy vampires were really fast because some of them are very high on the list. It's an interesting topic.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And I think you can really support yourself and protect yourself once you figure out who that is. Because I like, I think we've talked about this many times ad nauseum, if anything, but I don't have a sibling. And so my friends are my family. That's how I treat my friends. I always have. And when I look back on all the friendships I've had over the years and the people that really, at the end of the day, have drained me and not necessarily given back, those are the people I could say are energy vampires. Maybe they don't hit every one of those top 10, but like they hit a lot of them. And you were like, hold on, I just found this list. Can I give you this list about XYZ person and let's talk about it? And I was like, holy shit, 10 out of 10. Or what did you do? You asked me, does an energy vampire do this? And I was like, yes, they do. And then you were like,
Yeah.
does an energy vampire do this? And I was like, absolutely. And there was a couple where I had to like talk myself through the answer, but I got them all right, right?
Yeah,
There was two that were confusing to me.
we can't get really into the details of, how we brought up certain people and we talked about them because they're our friends. But the thing is that there's a few things on that list that I know people might say about me. I mean,
Sure,
it's
me
like
too.
I feel like I've changed a lot especially lately. But if you go back to the 20, 30-year-old Steve, I was just in the music business, just demanding attention, demanding it.
You know what, Steve? I want to I want to say this because I've watched I'm an analytical brain. I've realized, like, I'm a Virgo, and Virgos take everything in and they process and they process and they process. And you said to me, and you said this in the beginning of this, like, I'm a good friend because I was able to say to you, this is something that's upsetting me that happens,
Yeah.
and can we work on this? And not like you suck because you do this.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
weren't mean about this at all, by the way. I don't want people to think you bitched me out because you didn't. You just said, you know, you kind of casually got into it, and I got it. And when you do that with people, they get it. But if you say you're a fucking bitch, you interrupt me all the time, then that's going to lead to a fight.
right, right. And constructive criticism should be taken the way you took it. You took it and said, "Oh shit, I'm sorry. Like, I know I talk and I know I interrupt, and oh my God, I'm oh gosh, I'm gonna really work on that." Like, you took the criticism, which was constructive, and not like, "Hey man, you suck because of this." Like, you get more sugar. I mean, you get more, what's that saying? Uh you
I could
get
use a little
more
sugar.
so good, hi baby. You get more with sugar than with spice. That's what they say, right? And I'm trying to teach that to my child too. It's like you're going to get more from people in your life if you deliver with sugar than you do with spice. And like, for example, we waited in line for 25 people deep for a rental car when we got to Savannah, Georgia, because we had to drive to Hilton Head. Okay.
Savannah.
Yeah,
Wow.
we flew into Savannah, and I need to get back there and do. Dude, Steve, I got hit on more in the South in like nanoseconds than I do in years in the Northeast.
I believe that. That's because we're hard asses up here about everything. Everybody's really, it's like, it's not, it's so much more laid back down there, I think, you
But
know?
you said something to me the other day. You were like, why are you on the dating apps? You should just like next time you see a hot guy at the grocery store, give him your phone number.
Get
And I've
off the
really
dating
been
apps.
thinking about that, Steve, because you're right. I would never normally do that because I'd be chicken shit, right? But the other day I was grocery shopping and there was this gorgeous young buck. I'm going to call him a young buck because he was definitely not
How
my age.
young?
I would say he was 35, maybe,
That's in your range.
right? That's doable.
Yeah.
Maybe not. So I got eye contact with this guy
Uh-oh.
in the produce section, by the way.
Ooh.
And he was tall and handsome and he was buying produce. That's a good sign. He wasn't in the like, you know, full of gross nonsense
That's
food.
a good size cucumber you got there, sir.
I bet he did. I bet he did. Oh, you're going to make me blush. But like, I was like, oof, wow. He took my breath away. And then I was rushing. I had like a little basket. I wasn't in there for like longer than like 10 minutes. I was trying to get in and out. Next thing I know, my basket's overflowing. I'm like, oh my God, why did I do this to myself? I need a cart. And now I'm like, I'm running around. I'm trying to get in and out of there because I think I had to pick up my daughter at school and it was like 2:40 or something. And I have to pick her up at 3:10. And I'm like, damn it. If I had had more time, I absolutely, had we had this conversation before that, I should have given him my phone number, right? And then I saw him again and we got eye contact again. And then he got in the line that I was paying in. So, do you think he was trying to like potentially meet me too? I don't know.
I love it when the woman makes the first move, by the way. So
Ugh,
easy.
dude, Steve, I'm old fashioned like that. I want the guy to make the first move.
Yeah, well, you got to get off the dating apps and you got to make the first move. Take it from, an ex-player.
Well, you said you were like, when I lived in LA, I used to walk out the door and I'd
Ex.
meet 20 women every day.
I did.
Right. And we all could technically,
No
couldn't we?
cell
Like,
phones, no internet, no dating app. Well, there was internet, but it was in the early stages. Cell phones weren't a big thing. Well, the 90s, there were none. What am I saying? I'm talking about the 80s and 90s. The 90s is when I was really peaking in LA, and then that kind of stuff would happen all the time. And, yes, I want you to meet people in grocery stores and coffee shops and art museums and wherever else you go.
I do. And I've gone to all those things. I've been doing all those things lately. And you know what? I'm not going in it with that mindset, Steve. I'm not going in it with like, hey, if I see a handsome guy, I'm going to slip him my phone number. Like, I don't even know how to do that, dude. I was with somebody for 26 years,
Why don't
26
you add
years,
5 extra years onto that
because
marriage? What's
these
wrong with
5 years have been like a disaster in my
Oh, you're
dating life.
not divorced yet, actually.
Oh, yes, I am. Oh my God, I was divorced in 2020. I'm just in another scenario. Yeah.
Sorry. I guess
Oh
I
my
knew that and I forgot that.
God, please
Uh,
spare me.
I didn't know that the whole divorce. Yeah, yeah, of course I knew that. 2020, though, I don't remember anything that happened that year. Um,
No.
no, you know what it is? It's like you don't even have to make the first move. You just have to put yourself out there. And
Wait.
sometimes I
Oh, I
will,
want to talk about that though, making the first move. Sorry, I'm interrupting you right now because what does the first move mean to you? What does the
hey,
first move?
you know, uh, okay, I think I told you this once before, but I was in Whole Foods in Santa Monica once, and I was standing at the meat counter, and this woman, like I wasn't even there getting meat because I think I was a veggie, and I'm standing, this woman starts talking to me like, "What do you think? Should I get that one or that one?" And I looked over, and it was Peter Jones, who was like a playmate and stuff, in a movie, an actress, and it's like, to me, that was kind of a move. I mean, that was the first move. She just asked me for my opinion on something. Like, I would just, I do that all the time. I go up to women that I think are interesting, and if I'm in a store, I'll ask them a question about something that has nothing to do with will you come home with me?
Okay, so if
You
I
know,
saw that young buck and he was like over by the onions, and I went over and I said, "What do you think if I were to make like a beef stew? What kind of onion should I use?"
that could definitely start a conversation. I mean, sure, why not? Like I'm imagining if someone said that to me, I'd think about it and I'd try and come up with an answer. Yeah,
And that's way better than, "Hey, I think you're hot. Here's my phone number." I mean, I could do that. Like, "Hey, what kind of onion should I use in my beef stew, baby?"
I have heard the stories though where guys have walked up to women and said, "Hi, my name's Steve. I'm going to marry you." And that works too.
Wait, say that again?
Someone once, I can't remember who told me how they met. They went up to the person and said, "Hi, my name's Steve. I'm going to marry you someday." And they didn't even know the person. They ended up getting married.
Well, that's love at first sight, wouldn't you
Yeah,
say?
it happens.
I do believe in it. I think when I saw my Arabian Prince, there was something like that.
Trying to think. I think I believe I've had love at first sight a few times too. Didn't end that way, but it
Right. I was gonna say
started that way.
it didn't end that way, but
They always start good, but
and you know
sometimes
what?
they don't. One
My
time, here's a story. Check this out. I was in the Worcester Center Galleria in Worcester. It's not there anymore. There used to be a rock club there. I was leaving, and there was a girl in a blue Firebird standing there, and I just kind of looked at her and waved to her as I was leaving. All of a sudden, I turn around the corner, and a beer bottle comes flying at my car. I stop, I look, I get ready to get out, and it's a monster of a dude. And he goes, "Stay away from that girl in the blue Firebird." And I'm like, "Okay." And I left away. Well, check this out. There's a party at my house a month later. People are coming that I didn't know from college. It was a college party. And all of a sudden, I open the door, and there's the girl, or at least I thought it was. And I'm like, "Do you drive a blue Firebird?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, you look exactly like this girl, blah, blah, blah." We ended up hooking up.
Was she the girl from the Blue Firebird?
No, no, she wasn't. And we ended up seeing each other all because of an accidental, mistaken thing. So it can happen anyway. It can happen like anyway. It doesn't have to be a date. I
Well, I
think,
was just gonna
you know what?
say
I've got a new opinion. Okay, that don't count that as an interruption because I was still going.
you
I've got
were.
a new opinion about dating apps. You know why? And I know people might disagree with me, and I don't care. You know why people go on dating apps? For
Why?
sex. It's all
Well,
about sex. It's not about looking for a future partner. It's about sex.
that's the
That's
experience
why
I've had.
they go on there.
That's the experience I've had. I feel like every single guy I've met where I think it's like gonna be this potential relationship, and it all comes down to sex. And to your point, the other day, when I received a picture that shocked the hell out of me, and it was so inappropriately timed, to your point, that person I met on a dating app, and that picture that I received was not appropriate, and it was unsolicited. And it was just the most inopportune time to send a human being a raunchy picture. I mean, okay, it wasn't raunchy, but I'm just gonna, I got to give the audience a little something, something, so they understand what this picture was. But it was like not appropriate, right?
No,
So obviously, his point was, I want to get in the sack with you because I'm going to show you what you're about to potentially get. And I'm like, dude, we weren't even there yet, man.
no. Can I just go back for a second? Because I don't think every dating site is that. Because Vinally, I don't know if you ever heard of Vinally.
Nope.
It's a site, it's a dating site, but it's based on musical interests. And I
What?
think that's a
Join
really
that.
good, yeah, you should check out Vinally. I had the person that founded it on my other podcast, Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico, which is available on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Matter of fact, I'm gonna plug. Oh, you know what? I can't. I'm gonna plug this, but it's gonna be too late because this will come out after. I'm doing a live episode of Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico in 2 weeks, and Cibeline's going to be my guest.
Oh, right.
And we're going to be live on Cambridge television.
You think this is going to come out after that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. We could release two in a week if
I'll
we feel
send
like.
you the link to Vinily when we get off because
Yeah,
I
that's
think you should
interesting.
check it out. But I want to
Okay.
still try and fix you up.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say let's come full circle because I wanted to finish my point with sugar and spice too. Because when we were in this line for rental cars, I ended up getting this woman. There's three women that were servicing all these people, trying to, get them their rental cars. And I walk up, this woman, beautiful, beautiful Black woman from the South, Southern accent, the whole nine yards. She had the most gorgeous red lipstick on. And my first instinct was to say, I absolutely love your lipstick.
People love when
You
you
look
give compliments like that.
phenomenal. You look phenomenal, honey. You're killing it. That's how I approached her. And she was like, honey, I know this is a great lipstick, isn't it? And I was like, it is. You look phenomenal. And that was just me being me. Like
Let's be honest.
no, no, okay,
Let's be
no,
honest.
oh, let's be honest about this.
Let's be
No,
honest.
but what I'm saying is right away, she was like, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me a compliment. I'm like, it's from my soul. I'm telling you exactly what I think about you from my soul. And you know what? She hooked me up. She hooked me up. She gave me, I picked a mystery car because it was the cheapest car. There I was gonna get like the Kia, the little rinky-dink Kia out of that deal. Okay. I wanted to pay the least amount for this car. She gave me like the Mac Daddy SUV. And she told
Wow.
me, I'm giving you a really good car because I like you.
That's awesome.
You get more with sugar than with spice. If I had gone up there and been like, I'm pissed off. My flight was delayed. They took us off the plane and then back on a new plane. And then we had to wait all this time for our luggage. And now we had to wait another hour. And I'm not going to get to the pool until, 5 hours after I thought I was going to get to the pool. If I had approached her like that, she would have given me the little rinky dink piece of shit Kia. Let me tell you.
I got to tell you, the new Steve is friendly to everybody. I say hi to everybody. I talk to everyone. I'm nice to everybody. I went into a coffee shop that I ignored for a whole year because I thought I was getting attitude from the Gen Z kids in there. And I just walked in there the other day and they're like, Steve, where you been? And I was just smiling and happy. And I think that's how we need to be in these tumultuous times. Wow, I never get to use that word. In these turbulent, tumultuous times, we've got to be nice. And some people get mad when you're nice, but fuck them. Who cares? Just be nice anyways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I owe my mom, my daughter, I've said this before, like my daughter's like, Mommy, why do you make friends everywhere you go? And I'm like, why not? I'm just being nice. I'm
We
just
we
being
have to
kind.
be that way. We do. We have to be nice in these times.
We have to be nice in these times. We have to be nice in these times. I posted something the other day because I like those positive affirmation things.
You
And it
do.
said something like, you can't fake depression. So be kind.
Yeah, it really pisses me off when guys do this all the time. They downplay depression and anxiety and say, oh, just shut up and get over it. They don't understand what's going on with people out there. And there's a lot of people that are really, really hurting. Here's the other thing I want to say about the kindness thing. If there's somebody in your life that you can't be kind to, like I want to be kind to this specific woman I used to be involved with, but I'm not ready to be kind right now because I'm still upset. So the best
Same.
thing to do is just stay away.
Same. I wish I could stay away from my situation, but I can't. Yes, I like this saying. Do not mistake my kindness for weakness.
That's a good one. It's true. That's exactly what I mean about the way some people get mad when you're nice to them.
Well, also just the way people take advantage of a kind person. I have been told by many men in my life that I'm too nice. I'm like, okay, let me just establish something here. I am a nice person. I give, 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 probably to my detriment. But don't you think that you can walk all over me? Because the second I think you're walking all over me, I got your number and I ain't going to be so kind anymore. I'm not weak. I may be kind, but I am not weak.
She will break your balls if you mess with her.
I'll give you a ball buster. All right. On that note, I feel like I need to skip over one subject I was going to talk about. Well, okay. I'm just going to do a quick little thing. Blue Ox. There's this awesome little restaurant in Lynn. I
Lynn,
found it by
Massachusetts.
accident. Lynn, Massachusetts. I found it by accident one day when I was with Jackie. We were looking to have a quick bite, real quick, and then I was going to get my kid from play practice and blah blah blah. And I had like 1 hour, and she had 1 hour, and we just Googled real quick, and all of a sudden this thing came up, Blue Ox. I had heard of it. Holy cow! First of all, on Wednesdays they have a happy hour, and it may be every day. I have to double check this, but I think it's just Wednesdays. They have a happy hour from 4 to 5 p.m. where they have a bunch of amazing food on their menu for $5 each. So they had I got like fish tacos and shrimp tacos, and they have these wings that are insane if you like wings. They have oysters if you like oysters. Like
I
there
love
was like
oysters.
all this incredible food for $5 each from 4 to 5. And the bartenders were outstanding. Now I didn't drink. I'm not going to drink during the day. I'm not going to drink before I get my kid. Blah blah blah. I rarely drink anyway, but I was so blown away by the food at this place. Again, I'm just going to give a quick little hit on Blue Ox in Lynn, Massachusetts. Go there, people. Try to go for the happy hour if you can. I'm never in Lynn. I found myself in Lynn. I discovered this little restaurant. I don't know who owns it. I don't know anything about it. I'm
Is it
gonna
near the ocean?
No. I mean, I might have been. I have no idea where I was. I don't know, Lynn. I was just there to go to this crystal shop with Jackie, and I bought some awesome crystals. I bought this crystal where they give you like a little bag and they tell you. So this is a fire quartz and it's for motivation and grounding. And I mean, I bought a bunch of other stuff that day. I had no
Do you feel
business
more
buying any of
grounded?
this shit. That's a good question. I'm going to hold it now and then I'm going to tell you if I feel grounded.
For
But it's just been
people out
sitting
there
on my
that
desk.
don't, for people out there that don't know, and you're from a different state or country or whatever, because we have you people listening, Lynn is right next to Salem, Massachusetts, which is probably the more famous of the two towns, and it's also right on the ocean as well. Part of the town.
Yes,
Some
it is.
parts of Lynn
Absolutely.
are a little scary, but it isn't. It's one of those towns they're seeing as an up and coming town like Lowell and Worcester, and they seem to be all over Massachusetts because people can't afford Boston anymore. So they're all moving to all these other smaller cities.
Yes, I would say Lynn, the city of sin is the term that it gets. But I was actually talking with a gentleman, I don't know, a couple months ago, who was sitting at the bar. I went to get a bite to eat. Went out and met a girlfriend of mine, and this older gentleman who sold real estate was from Lynn. And I said, "Can I ask you a question? What is the history behind why do people call it Lynn, the city of sin? Because it's in such a beautiful location. Like it's such a shame. Like I would have never moved to Lynn because of that term. I had it in my head that it was a garbage town, and he gave me the whole history and why it's nicknamed that. And I'll maybe we can talk about that another day. But like, it's a shame. It's a shame because it had to do with you know it just had to do with when the white flight stuff and when they bring in affordable housing, and it was all of that, and that's how it got it.
When I was in different parts of the country and I had to be in Boston for some kind of radio promotional thing, I would go to WFNX, which was in Lynn.
Hmm.
So I used to go there. And, it's a lot of Massachusetts towns are like, they look like these old factory towns and they've got bad neighborhoods. And,
Every
it's
town
just,
has bad neighborhoods, but every
yeah,
what is a bad neighborhood? I mean, it's
yeah,
it's
really,
all
I
it's
get,
subjective.
yeah, I'm talking about appearance wise. You can kind of tell when you go to
Yeah,
certain neighborhoods if they're good or bad.
yeah, of
But
course.
I never thought we'd be talking about Lynn on this show.
I know. Well, okay, let's move on. Okay, so my next subject I wanted to talk about is Hollywood celebrity failed brands, fashion brands. Okay. This is interesting. It is very, and I feel like I could do 3 episodes on this subject matter because there's a lot of them. But I'm just going to give a couple quick hits on a couple brands that surprised me and also intrigued me. So the ones they were talking about on the radio was Justin Bieber, who started a clothing line called Drew, and it never even like it didn't get successful. Like, and you would think that a Justin Bieber product would actually do pretty well, but I never even heard about it. And it was a clothing brand. And I think Drew is a name of somebody that's important in his life. I don't quite know, but whatever. Yeah.
When someone starts a fashion line like that, wouldn't they call a fashion designer up to help them?
Oh
Do,
yes. So
do you
so I
think
can
he
tell
got
you
the
how this
wrong
happened.
fashion designer? Is that what happened with Justin?
So I don't know the ins and outs of this failure, but generally speaking, when a celebrity like this decides to get involved in fashion, somebody who doesn't necessarily have experience but loves fashion, because clearly Justin Bieber has always been quite fashionable, he would join a company. For example, let me use Rihanna. Okay, let me use Rihanna as an example because she's on my list. Now, she's a successful uh, business owner, but also had a failed business venture within her success. Okay. So this is a perfect example. Rihanna with her Fenty line. Okay. Fenty, Fenty. That is her brand. She partnered with LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, who has, it's a conglomerate. Okay. They have a massive, massive company that has different brands within it. And each one of those brands has a design team and a production facility and all the people. So they come, and my guess is that either Rihanna's manager went to LVMH and said, we want to collab with you. Or LVMH went to Brianna's people and said, we want to collab with you. Okay. This doesn't just, oh, Justin Bieber's like at home sketching his fashion brand. No, 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 no. There's a whole structure that happens around this, and it's a thing. I mean, it's a thing. And at that point, basically, they're licensing their name to be used by a big, brand that wants to capitalize on their success, right? So Rihanna is a perfect person to collab with a Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. Um, I'm not going to let him distract me on this. All right. And then
Sorry.
that happened in 2019. 2019, Rihanna paired up with this. Now, if I were to pair up with somebody, I would want it to be LVMH. That is a huge backer of successful business. Okay. Louis Vuitton, Moet, and Hennessy. Hello. They're all brands that have done extraordinarily well. Now, she linked up with them in 2019. Her beauty line for Fenty, which is in Sephora and a lot of other places, has been wildly successful. She also has a brand that is lingerie called Savage X. I'm
Mm,
like, oh, I'm gonna check me out some
mm,
Savage X, and
hmm.
maybe someday somebody's gonna buy me some lingerie,
Yeah.
like I've been telling you, you
Wear your
gotta do.
lingerie to the supermarket.
I mean, maybe I do wear lingerie to the supermarket. You wouldn't know it
Walmart.
because maybe it's underneath my clothes, honey. I've been known to do that. I wear lingerie for me to make me feel sexy.
Me too.
Oh, does he have a closet that he brings out? Anyway, so what's interesting about this Fenty line and the Savage X line is that Rihanna also started a clothing line called Fenty. And guess what? They started it in 2019 and they paused it in 2021 because it was not getting the the it wasn't getting the hype. Now, we did have a pandemic during that time, but they paused it and they haven't come back to it. So clothing is hard. I think it's harder to get to become successful because a brand has to, change its vibe every season, right? It has to have a new look every season. And so you've got to have a really good designer. You've got to have a really good forward thinking person or somebody that really understands the market too. You have to figure out who your target customer is, quite frankly. So anyway, does that explain that? Is
Yeah.
that clear? Okay, so you'll appreciate this one. Natalie Portman.
Oh, I
Natalie
love her.
Portman, 2008. Natalie Portman tried to come up with a vegan footwear brand. Actually, she invested in a vegan footwear brand. Okay. It was all about cruelty free, non leather shoes.
Wow.
I know. And I knew this would hit your heart. It was called Te Kasan, Te with a accent on top, Casan, Te Kasan. It didn't even last a year. She was so excited. She invested in this vegan footwear brand. It was high end, it was cruelty free. And people complained saying it had bad design and the price point was too high. And she then took that, learned from it, and guess who she invested in next? She invested in the Impossible Food brand. Impossible Burgers.
She did not.
Yes, she did.
Wow, good. That's a really good investment.
Right?
Yeah.
A really good investment. So, sometimes they learn their lesson. They get out. Well, the getting's good, and then they find something. Because I understand if you've got the money, you want to invest in what you believe in, right? Like she believes in cruelty free. She's a vegan. Like I love that she tried a vegan
Yeah,
footwear brand,
me too.
and it wasn't successful. You have a T-shirt you're going to show me. What are
No,
you going to
no,
show
I was
me?
going to show you something interesting that I recently found in my
Oh. Did somebody leave those behind or did you buy those for yourself?
I did not buy them for myself.
Okay, so he had some what looked like female underwear, perhaps. I don't know. Well, what am I shushing?
Well,
Everybody's gonna
people
see
might
this.
think I'm too old to get a little action, but it happens,
Dude, stop saying. I actually want you to stop saying that.
that I'm
I hope that I'm still having sex at 80. Thank you very much.
I didn't say I wasn't having sex anymore.
But you said I'm too old to get action. What is
Well, no,
that?
I'm not as active as I used to be in pursuing
Well,
the
thank God, Steve. Sounds like you were a little more active than general public. So maybe
yes,
you
I
needed to,
was. I was. I
take
didn't
it down a
answer
notch.
any I didn't walk down any streets and answer any phone booths that were ringing.
Yeah, well, you can talk about that. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Keep
I don't want to
going
get
because
okay.
I'm really good at changing the subject. You don't want that right now.
All
I
right,
know.
so Natalie Portman, that thing only lasted a year. That was in 2008. Rihanna, we just talked about. Britney Spears. Britney Spears opened up. I know, but listen, Britney Spears has been poorly managed by the people around her, and
Like her parents, you mean?
I'm going to put Justin Bieber into that mix. Yes, both of them. Their parents failed them, their managers failed them, their family failed them. Like when you're a young star, you're
Tough.
victim to so much. And you know what? I want you to give a thumbs up to Britney because even though you may not like her music, that poor woman has been through the fucking ringer. And so is Justin Bieber.
I'm sorry.
Probably molested, all of them. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
there's so much that's come out with this whole P. Diddy bullshit, and Justin Bieber is like trying to make a life for himself. And he just keeps getting like waylaid by everybody around him. It's really sad. It's really sad. So he had a fashion brand. Not Whitney, but Brittany started a Cajun inspired New York City restaurant. I think this was in the early 2000s. It was called Nyla, as in New Orleans, and
that
it
failed?
it failed. It failed. It
Oh,
got bad reviews. It had bad
hmm.
service and bad food. It was like destined to it fail from the get go. Like it just sucked. And you know what? One more failure on her belt, a little notch of failure on her belt. She's had a lot of them. And it makes me sad for her because I was a Britney fan, even though I was more of a Madonna, Cyndi Lauper era. I grew up with Britney too. And
Did you like her more than Christina Aguilera?
I think Christina Aguilera, and I think we've talked about this too, like I think she's more talented
Yeah.
vocally, but I think they both I think Britney was just a little weaker of a person, and so she got more affected by the bad press. I think Christina Aguilera is a more confident woman, and I think she didn't let it get to her. Was I think Britney read all the bad reviews, and it just, I mean, I'm watching my kid, have stuff with friends too, and it's like if you let somebody dominate your world with what they think of you, it'll ruin you.
Yeah.
It can ruin you. You know what I mean? Or it can affect you dramatically for a period of time, right? So that's my take on Brittany. I have compassion for her. I really do. So, do you have anything to say about what I'm saying? I'm going to let you speak.
Well, I was trying to think of celebrity restaurants or businesses that have been really successful. And I don't know what made me think of Sugar Taco. They're in LA. They're vegan Mexican. It was started by a bunch of playmates. And I went there when I was in LA. Not the last time I was there. I'm going to LA next week, by the way. I was there 2 times ago. I went and it was fabulous, man. The food was amazing. And they have three of them now. They had two,
Mhm.
now they have three. So that's a successful one. It's
Is
no
a
one
so
famous that I
oh
can think of off the top of my head, other than that they were. Tina Louise is one of the, not that Tina Louise. There's a Tina Louise that's a model. She's around 40. She's she's got an OnlyFans page and everything. She's one of them, you know. And she basically was one of the people involved in that restaurant. And that's how I heard about it on her Instagram page. And I went and I loved it. Telly Savalas used to have a really good sports bar that I used to go to, Telly's. It was at Sheridan Hotel in Universal City. That was a good one. God, it's hard for me to think, but there's other ones, but I can't think of them. I don't know why I'm thinking of restaurants, but I guess probably because I don't know a lot of clotheslines, you know.
I just hit a button and I lost you. What did you say about Telly Savalas?
He had a sports bar called Telly's. It was in it was at the Sheridan Hotel in Universal City, and we used
Hmm.
to go there all the time when I lived in the Valley.
Do
And
you
I
remember
like,
Universal Studios?
yes.
No, the restaurant, Universal, what was it called?
Yeah,
There was
there
a
was a restaurant there. I
restaurant.
know what you're talking about. I bet that I never went there. I'm not into
It was
that trendy
no,
kind
no,
of.
no, of course, but that was Arnold Schwarzenegger and like two other big celebrities. I was just reading about it. And remember, it was like huge and then it kind of tanked. Now there's only four left. Four left out of like hundreds. But they blew up so fast and then they failed. Right? So there's that too. It's like when you get, too much momentum and then you fail, right? Like so anyway, lastly, I just wanted to touch on I heard about this Blake Lively recently opened up a business called Buzz. And it's kind of like a similar thing to like Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop. Do you know about either of those? So Gwyneth Paltrow has like a lifestyle kind of it started as like her favorite things kind of thing, like Oprah used to do. And it was like everything from beauty products to sex positions and, yeah, like I'm sure she's talked about like vibrators and she's talked about, food and she's talked about candles. I mean, she's big on like the ayahuasca kind of little retreats and things like that. She's really forward thinking and she's built an incredible brand. But I guess Blake Lively tried to do the same thing with a company called Buzz and it tanked.
No buzz.
No buzz from her buzz. Exactly. Exactly. And I love Blake Lively. Like you always talk about people who you think are like some of your most beautiful like celebrity crushes.
She's pretty beautiful.
I think she's a stunner, like a stunner. And I always say this little saying, like, she could park her boots under my bed any day. Like, I don't know. I
Let's
don't
be
know.
honest.
I'm I'm not into women, but that's a woman I might take a second thought on.
She's
What? What'd you
she's
say?
lying. She's into
I'm not
women.
lying. I've never been with a
She
woman.
likes boobs.
I mean, I
Big
appreciate boobs,
ones.
but I don't I don't want to touch them. Okay.
I feel
I
like
mean,
I haven't been
maybe I
silly
would
enough.
touch a boob. I just don't want to go there.
Maybe
I
I
don't
would
want to go.
touch a boob. Maybe I'd touch a dick. I mean, why not?
I, I mean, maybe I touch a boob, but I don't want to go downtown. No, thank you. Blah. That's disgusting. Okay. So we talked about Justin. We talked about Blake Lively. I just want to kind of close out with two people that have been both successful and unsuccessful. So 50 Cent, as they call him, 50 cents, 50 Cent. He got involved in some businesses. He's a great businessman. He is a very, very, very good businessman. And he invested in vitamin water, or he had something to
Wow.
do with the beginning of vitamin water.
Good
And it's been
investment.
very successful for him. Yes, he is a bazillionaire apparently because of it, or I don't know. I'm being facetious, but then we got to talk about the Kardashians. I know you don't like them, and I'm going to go ahead with you and maybe give a like medium thumbs to partial thumbs down, but they
I'm
are
not saying anything.
really they've been really involved in business. And the girls initially like had a boutique. They had boutiques all over LA and California, and then apparently they invested in a credit card brand, a credit card called Dash, and apparently it tanked. It wasn't a good credit card. It got bad reviews. It was horrible. They took it off the market. They failed. Well, guess what Kim Kardashian is doing right now? She is doing a line called Skims. And when I was in New York just a couple weeks ago with my daughter for spring break, I noticed that there is a Skims store on Fifth Avenue. Do you know how expensive it is to have retail on Fifth Avenue? That's
Oh,
minimum 50 grand a month for your rent.
wow.
Minimum. I'd probably guess it's 150. I
Wow.
don't I'll have to do some research on that while you're talking about British bands and come back to you on that. Just the
Oh, you're not
minimum
going to listen to me
expense.
talk about British bands? You're going to do research? What? I have to listen to you talk
Dude,
about all this, and now you're not going to what
dude,
the?
I see you. You're always doing a little this, little that when I'm talking, don't you?
Just because I
Today I
noticed my
have
cat on the bed. I mean, that's all I did.
today I'm getting your undivided attention somehow, some way. I'm keeping
Hey,
you
I showed
engaged.
you panties someone left at my house. I mean, come on. Jesus.
Oh, now we found out the truth. Okay. So in any case, Skims. Do you know what Skims is? You would probably appreciate it.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. So it's her undergarments that she touts to wear for, making you look a little more pushed up or a little more vavoom,
A
you know.
Kardashian does this?
Yep,
Oh
this is her
boy, what
brand.
a surprise that is.
Exactly, right? Like the woman who's created fake butt fucking lifts or whatever
The woman who made her name off a sex tape. I mean, come on.
that her mother made her name off of a sex tape. Her mother leaked that sex tape, by the way.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes, her mother definitely leaked the sex tape. So, that, my dear, is my overall touch on celebrity fashion brands that have failed, but also some that have been very, very successful. And I'm all for a good fashion brand. I'm all for somebody being, successful in business and being an entrepreneur. So I'm super excited for the people who are successful. So that's my little take on that. And now I'm going to pass it off to you, my dear, to talk about this incredible subject matter of the top 6 British bands ever in the history of music. Take it away,
Well, it
Mr.
was really
Music
hard for me
Guru.
to it was really hard for me to like rank them because, I think most people that know me know that Queen is my all-time favorite band. So to not put them at the top of the list is really difficult. But the 6 bands here are the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Who, Led Zeppelin, Queen, and Pink Floyd. Those were the ones I thought were the top of the tier. But then I was thinking, you can't ignore these bands and say they didn't exist because they're all great in their own way. Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, The Kinks, Small Faces, The Faces, Yardbirds, Animals, Cream. Now, I'm sure I'm missing some, and I don't think I even made it to the 90s here because most of these bands are 60s, 70s, and 80s. But it's really hard for me to rank these bands and not put the Beatles at the top. Okay, now I know some people will say the Rolling Stones are the greatest band ever, and they'll put them at the top, or if they're a hardcore metal kind of leaning, they'll say Led Zeppelin. But I'm going to put the Beatles at number one, and I'm going to say they're the top of the British food chain. How's that? The rock and roll food chain. And, some of my favorite songs,
And
because I
probably
know
one of the most influential, right, on the rest of the history of music.
yeah, and I listed some of my favorite songs by all these, and I had Strawberry Fields, Day in a Life, and While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Most people think Sergeant Pepper or Abbey Road are like the greatest rock album ever made. I like Revolver more, but and my favorite Beatle has always been John Lennon, so I put them at the top. And I don't know if you have anything to say about the Beatles, but
I sure as hell do. I Do you want me to jump in on each one as
yeah,
you say it?
yeah.
Okay, so what's the song? Ooh ooh Kachoo.
Cuckoo,
Walrus.
cuckoo. I am the walrus. That could have
I
been
am
in my top
Yeah.
three too.
So my top favorite songs are Hey Jude, Hey Jude.
She's
And
gonna
I'm
sing them.
realizing that as I look at all my songs that I've selected from these, they're all kind of like mellow songs. So apparently that's my favorite of a lot of these bands. Hey Jude is my top Beatles song. I'm gonna rank my bands after you finish, but and I Am the Walrus, man. I friggin' have loved that song since I was a kid. Um, and then did they do Beautiful Boy? Is that
That's
the
a
Beautiful?
John Lennon
Yeah,
solo
yeah. So that's my
double fantasy album.
my top three are Beautiful Boy. Well, Hey Jude, number one, I Am the Walrus, and Beautiful Boy.
It's okay that you picked a solo song. There's a lot of good Beatles solo songs, there's no doubt.
I
Okay,
mean, just such a beautiful song.
I did not put the Rolling Stones second on my list. I got them third. Second on my list, I am going to go with Queen because I think Queen may have started off slower than some of these bands, but they blew up bigger than these bands. And I take Freddie Mercury over Mick Jagger. Some people might disagree with that, but let's not forget Freddie Mercury was only 44 years old when he died. And the last couple of years of his life, he couldn't do anything. But, yeah, plus, you got Bohemian Rhapsody, Somebody to Love, and We Are the Champions, and We Will Rock You. Those songs right there, everyone knows those songs. Everyone, everyone.
Everyone.
And, for
My
me,
daughter was singing Bohemian Rhapsody like 4 years ago, and she knew
okay,
every word to the song.
excuse me, and they are only 13.
Not even. She's not even 13. She was singing the entire song of Bohemian Rhapsody, knew every word, at least 4 years ago when she was 8.
I think the whole operatic
Mm.
approach of that song is what really sucked people in. And that's why I think if you're going to say what's the greatest rock song ever, that's number one.
Woo, that's a big statement, but I will go with you and say, huh, I really put Queen in their own sphere. Like I don't even when you threw this at me that I had to add Queen into this mix, I was really taken up. I'm fucked up by it a little bit because Queen doesn't compare to the Beatles in my mind. Like they can't even be in the same like category to me. I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy, but Queen was so he was such a theatrical singer and such a theatrical vocalist and lyricist. The Beatles established a sound that was so influential. I don't know how many people would say that they want to write music like Queen, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm just this is my personal thoughts that are coming into my head right now as I say it. Like, how many people want to write a rock ballad or a rock theater thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
They can't.
they can't compare, right? You cannot compare John Lennon and Freddie Mercury. In my mind, I can't. I'm wrapping my head around it. I can't do it. But do you want to know my two favorite songs?
By Queen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you just asked, or you're
Of
talking
course
about
I
Queen.
want to hear your two favorite Queen songs.
Another one bites the dust, and
Crossover.
another one. You know, I mean, to me, that was my youth in a song. It was written in 1980. I was 6 years old. I was like singing that song until I don't know, I'm still singing it. And then I fucking love when he collabed with David Bowie, and I love Under Pressure. I
Well,
love that
these are
song.
two, those are two of the greatest songs ever. The another one bites the dust is a crossover song. It's a rock song and it appealed to the dance disco crowd, and that's what made it so huge. I understand what you're saying about not being able to put Queen in the same category as the Beatles, and that's why I have the Beatles number one.
Right.
I think Queen,
Because for
they
you, Queen is number one on so many
yeah,
levels.
personal.
I know, right.
I never saw the Beatles, but I saw Queen three times with Freddie Mercury when I was a teenager, very young.
Unbelievable, Steve. How incredible was that? That must have been life-changing for you.
Yeah, and plus I met Brian May once. So I mean, I'm a huge Queen fan, and I think that they have their catalog might not be as good as the Beatles, but it's close, close. Now, here's another surprise on number three. I'm going to go with Led Zeppelin. So the Stones are dropping down. And I'm sorry, but they are. Because Led Zeppelin, for the period of time that they were around, they have a quality of work that's immense. You could take any one of those first four albums and say it's your favorite, or you could say the same with Houses of the Holy, Presence. I mean, all their records are great, and they were around for a shorter period of time because John Bonham died. And I think Led Zeppelin, as time goes on, their legacy becomes greater and greater. And that's why I put them third. And did you have something about Zeppelin that you wanted to
I
say?
sure do, my love. I have to tell you, my absolute favorite song, and it moves me every single time I hear the first guitar tinkling on the song, is Going to California.
Led
Going to
Zeppelin 4.
California is absolutely my favorite Zeppelin song. The song that got me into Zeppelin was Black Dog or Black
Wow.
Dog, whatever,
Black
Black Dog.
Dog. Very
Yeah,
good.
that was the song that made me go, who are these guys? And I was in high school. And I remember being like, it changed my life when I heard Black Dog. That the beginning of the song and it builds up. I was like, rah! Like it just got me so like pumped for music. And but going to California, I just did a deep dive on the lyrics of that song the other day, and like before we were even talking about this, I did a dive on it because Mark Femino plays it for me every time I have him at any event playing for us, and he knows how much I love that song, and I felt like I should have been in California. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a California girl stuck on the East Coast. You know what I mean? So I under like flowers in the hair. Like, he's talking about trying to find his dream woman, and he's gone to California. He's heartbroken, and he finds this girl with flowers in her hair. Like, it's just everything about the song speaks to me. So go
Led
ahead.
Zepp Led Zeppelin 4, the album that was on with Stairway to Heaven also, was the album that really got Zeppelin into the mainstream. Did you ever see Fast Times at Ridgemont High?
Of course.
I love the line in the movie where the kid Spicoli, is that his name? Wait,
Probably. Yes, Spicoli. Yep.
who's the guy that sells the tickets in the Damone says to the young kid, he goes, when you go out on the date, you got to put Led Zeppelin side one on. Like, play that first immediately and you'll get laid. Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, it's true. And you
Uh,
and going to California, going next week, is that song is just great. I agree with you.
It's
Tangerine's
just
my favorite.
okay.
I love Tangerine, but it wasn't when Almost Famous came out and they play and that was in the movie, the placement of the song made me realize, wow, this is one of the greatest songs ever. And I was not the hugest Zeppelin fan growing up. Now,
Mhm.
if I want to hear a good album, vinyl, I put a Zeppelin record on, or the Beatles, or
Okay,
Queen.
I can't hold this in anymore. I have to tell you, I put Zeppelin as number one for me because Zeppelin, I have to say it
I love you
because
for that.
I put Zeppelin for number one because when I was finding my musical voice, it was during the early 90s, maybe the late 80s. And like, I remember hearing it's Black Dog, right? Or is it Black?
Yeah. Black
Black Dog?
Dog.
I remember hearing Black Dog and just being like, what is this, man? Holy shit. Like, this speaks to me. And yeah, I knew the Beatles because my mom played it. And yeah, I knew Queen, but like, it didn't touch me as deeply as Led Zeppelin did. So Led Zeppelin's
I'm
my number one,
impressed.
Steve.
I'm impressed by that. Led Zeppelin had a sound of their own. Jimmy Page
I
was
mean,
brilliant.
Robert Plant, can we talk about his voice, man, and the notes he could hit? I mean, I know that, it's he's blown out, but I've seen him now with Alison Krauss and Robert Plant. I've seen him with the one woman, Patti Smith. Like, I've seen
Patty
him.
Griffin, Patty Griffin.
Griffin, sorry, Griffin. Griffin. Meanwhile, we're recording this
Well,
video.
I know, but I was afraid you might be going somewhere that I don't really want to go
No, 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 no.
there.
I'm just saying, like, I've seen him in his latter years, and although he can't hit that highest note, he can still rock the fucking Casbah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
People that know me know why I said that. But we're not going to go there. Okay, so then I got The Who because I think Who's Next, if I had to pick an album that I would say is one of the greatest albums ever made, it would be in my top five. So, I mean, and I love The Who. I think that live, they're the best one of all of these bands live.
Whoa,
You
really?
know, just barely beaten Queen. And then I'm gonna,
Wait,
okay,
wait, wait. What are your songs on
oh,
the Who?
I put, instead of putting my personal favorites on here, I put Barbara O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again because I thought those were songs that you would be able to relate to. They
So
did it.
can I tell you my favorite songs? Because I
Yes.
love the Who. I've been listening to the Who for years and years and years. I think that when I was listening, so when I did a deep dive on Led Zeppelin, I got into the Who. I got into Cream. I loved Cream. My God, there's so many. I mean, I really did a deep dive on everybody that showed up at Woodstock. Really, I got into Jimi Hendrix. I got into Janis Joplin at the same time. Like, this is my youth right now. Everything I'm talking about. These were the yes, I was listening to Salt and Pepper and Taylor Dane, but my classic rock chick was like totally into the Who. Teenage Wasteland. That's my favorite song.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can see for miles and miles. I can see for miles and miles. I just like, I mean, there's so many more. Obviously, Pinball Wizard is one of the most epic songs ever, right? But like, I don't know, Teenage Wasteland and I Can See for Miles and Miles. But yes, did I ever see The Who? No. But man, I would have loved to have seen them. Would have loved to have.
Yeah, I never saw the Who either, but they're definitely one of my favorite. A quick one, a quick one, which is the mini opera, is my favorite, but it's more lesser known than these songs that you were talking about. And that brings us up to number five, the Rolling Stones. Satisfaction, Give Me Shelter, Sympathy for the Devil, You Can't Always Get What You Want, Exile on Main Street album, It's Only Rock and Roll. Okay, at the end of my other podcast, Blowing Smoke with Twisted Rico, I always say, till the next time we say goodbye, which is the name of a Rolling Stones song. So I love, don't, just because I'm putting them fifth on the list doesn't mean I don't love them,
I
because I
know.
love all these
I
bands.
know.
And
It's so hard to rank them.
putting Pink Floyd last is kind of a difficult because I'm a huge Roger Waters fan and the Animals
Wait, you
album.
didn't ask me my Rolling Stone
We're
songs.
going to go back to it. I just wanted to wrap up my
Okay.
list and then I'm going to
Okay.
let you talk about the
Okay.
Stones and Pink Floyd. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
You sure? Okay.
You know me. I want to say, I want to say
I
my
don't really
opinion.
have much to say about, Wish You Were Here, Comfortably Numb, Dark Side of the Moon, Animals. But go ahead, talk about the Rolling Stones.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say I put Pink Floyd last too. So that's interesting that we both met in the same spot on last. And it's only because these other guys are so fucking good. I just, you know, in high school, I remember everybody was like smoking dope and then, listening to Pink Floyd, man, listen to Pink Floyd and like and then what was that like Fanastasia or whatever the Disney movie that you're supposed to then put the same you're supposed to put Pink Floyd
No,
Comfortably
Wizard
Numb
of
on.
Oz.
No, these guys were watching Fanastasia, I think, or whatever
Did
that
you know
Anastasia
Wizard of
is.
Oz is the exact same time as the Dark Side of the Moon album? If you listen to Dark Side of the Moon and watch Wizard of Oz with the volume down, it makes total sense. But
That's what people
they're
used to
saying
say
it was an
about
accident.
no, that's what people used to say about the Disney movie that was a cartoon with Mickey Mouse and all those guys. Same thing. When I was in high school, everybody was like smoking up in somebody's basement and then putting on that that album and then putting on that movie.
People are
So
just stoned.
yeah, but no, but that was a thing for sure. And I didn't get into it. I don't know, like I would say I'm the least Pink Floyd fan out of all of these all of these, bands. I will say that my favorite song is Wish You Were Here. Again, a sad song, and it's coined as the saddest song that they ever wrote. Um, I love Milkmen do a cover of Wish You Were Here. Milkmen is a band that I discovered on Spotify. They do a cover of it, and I think it's better than the original. So I'm gonna go ahead and push that out there. So you got to
Not
listen to
going there.
that. Okay, but it's a song that I identify with. I like how they do it. Okay, but we got to go back to the Stones. I will say that. Okay, now I'm going to give you my ranking. Okay, so I had a really hard time with this because my gut of all guts wants to say Led Zeppelin is number one. Okay,
These
boom.
are your favorites, so you could say whatever you want. No one's gonna judge you by how you rank these bands.
Sure, I know, but it's really hard for me. The two, three, and four are like I could easily have them mixed around five times because then I go with Beatles because I have to. Like I can't put Beatles third because the Beatles are the Beatles,
So
right?
you're going Zeppelin, Beatles.
That
Okay.
Zeppelin Beatles, and then I have to go with the Stones next because of it's my youth in a bunch of songs
Yeah.
because Beast of Burden, man. I know every lyric to that song. It touched my soul, just like Going to California did. It's like on every mixtape I would have ever made from the 1988, genre. And then Wild Horses, man.
Oh
Like you
yeah.
didn't say
Good
Wild
one.
Horses.
Yeah.
Wild Horses and A Beast of Burden are the best of the best for me. But can't get no satisfaction. I mean, all those, yes, 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 right? But Beast of Burden and Wild Horses.
I
I
know
want to have
it's
sex
only
to both
rock
of
and
them.
roll, but I like it. It's hard to like name every Stone song. There's so many of them. Let's spend the night together. I mean, Jumpin' Jack
Honky Tonk
Flash.
Woman. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Jumpin' Jack Flash. I mean, but like both of the all of these bands have their rock songs and then they have their love songs. And I guess my list, I could have make love to every one of the songs I just
Where did you
mentioned,
put
by the way.
Queen? Fifth?
Okay, sorry. So I put Queen fourth,
Fourth. The
and
Who
only because
fifth.
I would take them out of that list 100%. And then I put The Who fifth, and I put Pink Floyd sixth.
Okay.
Fair, right? Fair is fair. Like I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to
I
put
mean, I love all those bands. And, I'm going to throw something at you right now because we don't have to have a long discussion about this, but I'm just curious what you would say. I'm wondering, and I came up with a list of these are all British bands, right? Which are far superior to American bands. Sorry, America. But these are the bands I think are the greatest American bands. And I'm not including punk and hardcore. If you're out there listening, I don't have Black
That's a
Flag
whole
and
nother
Minor
genre.
Threat and the
Yeah.
Dead Kennedys on this list. That's a whole nother thing for me. I love hardcore, but that's not what this is. This is more like up to the 90s. And these bands, I want to know, Cibeline, which ones are your favorites or who is your favorite? Ready? Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Heart, Aerosmith, The Doors, The Eagles, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, REM, Nirvana, Pearl Jam. Okay, those are American bands. Now, let me just preface by saying Bob Dylan is the most iconic and greatest songwriter ever. He's not on this list because Bob Dylan's got his own category. So I don't want people to say, how can you name the greatest ever and not say Bob Dylan? It's because I'm going at bands here. These are bands. So out of that list I gave you, who's your favorite? I know you got all
Oh,
jumpy over
I'm trying to
Tom
write them
Petty.
down right now so I can rank them. Can you say them again?
Tom Petty, everyone that's listening is doing the same thing right now. They're right. Tom Petty, Heart, because I realized I'm listing all these bands and I didn't have a woman in any of the bands I listed, which
I
is a
mean, you have to
joke.
put Joan Jett in there, man. If you're gonna put Heart in there, you got to put Joan Jett in there.
Okay, see what I mean? This could open up a lot of conversations.
I know.
But Tom, I honestly though, I think Heart's bigger than Joan. I
I
mean,
don't know. I don't know. Joan Jett was like, put another dime in the jukebox, baby. I love rock and roll was like, it's still my anthem.
she was
When I
also in
think,
the Runaways, which is the greatest all-female band ever.
yeah,
But
and the Pretenders, holy shit. I mean, maybe we need to do female at some point. We need to do the all-time female.
yeah,
Like, what?
because
Okay,
I
keep
love
going.
females.
I know you do.
uh, Tom Petty, Hart, Aerosmith, The Doors, The Eagles, Springsteen and the E Street Band, REM, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam. Now, I know I've left good bands off of this list. I just wrote those down right before we started because I was just curious what Cibeline would say is her
Oof.
favorite of all those
Okay.
bands.
I think I missed one, but I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to repeat what you said. Tom Petty, the Eagles, Heart, Doors, Aerosmith. I added Joan Jett, but I will take her out. REM, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, but I missed one in
E
there.
Street Band
Street Band. Okay.
and The
Bruce.
Doors.
Bruce. I said Doors. Okay. Okay. Oh, well, right off the bat, number one for me and all of these guys is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Hands down. Like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh yeah. I sang, and I still do if she'll let me. I sing "Free Fallin'" to my daughter as a uh good night to her. Like that was our what's that called? A lullaby. A lullaby. She's my good girl. She loves her mama. Blah 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 blah. I mean, and then personally, like I almost have to remove Nirvana and Pearl Jam out of this group because I want
Yeah,
to
I
do
don't
the
know why I
Seattle
put them
guys.
on. I don't know why I put
I
them on the
almost want, I'm
list.
going to take them out of here because that's the Seattle guys for me. And we're going to do the top Seattle bands. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are fucking epic. But for me,
They're not
number
in the
two,
same class as these other bands.
yeah, like I'm a little confused by this.
Stone
So
Gossard would even say that Tom Petty's on in a league higher than him. Excuse
I
me. I
mean,
just burped on our podcast.
Eddie,
Sorry.
I didn't hear it. Eddie Vedder Eddie Vedder talks about Tom Petty in his concerts. He plays a guitar that Tom Petty gave him. I've seen it. And he covered I Won't Back Down at one of the shows that I went to. Like Eddie Vedder is a mega Tom Petty fan.
Yeah, he
And
is. Yeah.
he really is. And he has uber respect for him. And listen, we talked about ranking voices. And remember, I put Eddie Vedder as one of my top voices. Okay. Like top voices of all times. Like, I, I mean, oh, we're putting our chapsticks on. I'm going to give a little shout out to Sunbum 30. This is coconut flavor. I love it. It's great in the sun. It's great, great, great. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, and this might be shocking to some people, but the Eagles have always, always, always been one of my favorite bands. I have seen them live. Hotel California is one of my anthems. I love, love, love Joe Walsh, and I love My Maserati Goes 185. Like I mean, God, just again, my youth in a in a band has to be the Eagles.
Yeah,
So
the Eagles weren't cool to me until Joe Walsh actually joined the band. So,
right, like I love Joe Walsh, and
yeah,
to me, the Joe Walsh is part of the Eagles. But Don Henley, man, and
Glenn Fry,
Glenn Fry. I mean, all of them. Like
R.I.P.
R.I.P. God rest his soul. Like he was annoying, but he was so good, you know. Like, but Don Henley and Joe Walsh are like so important in my world of music,
I
as is
believe
Tom
that.
Petty, 100%. So then I would go,
I didn't ask you to rank them all. I didn't rank them. I just gave you a
well,
list. But you don't like
I
the
would then,
Doors? You don't like Jim Morrison?
I told you, I've never really been a Doors fan. I
Me
mean,
neither. They have a
I,
lot of
I'm
good songs,
I
though.
appreciate them. It's just not my jam, baby. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't touch me like other stuff does. I touch myself. You know that song? Who sings that one?
The
I can't remember.
Vinyls, they're an Australian band.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I would have to go ahead and say like Heart and Aerosmith are like next for me, like kind of a tie for three. And I too was never really a big Bruce fan. And I appreciate Bruce. I like music in this world could not be music without Bruce. I think, he was a huge influence for people, but I'd put Bruce next and then probably REM and then the Doors for me.
I'm only going to give you one and two because I put these two very closely together, but I'm going to say Tom Petty is also number one and Aerosmith is closely, they're close. They're close because the first four or five Aerosmith records to me are brilliant. They
Oh,
kind of got too sappy for me, as time
listen,
went
I
on.
love I love Aerosmith. I mean, the fact that I have to put Aerosmith as a tie for three is heartbreaking, but Eagles was more
Yeah,
more of my
I saw
stuff,
the
you know.
Eagles too. I
A lot
went
of
to
people
it.
don't like the Eagles. The Eagles get a bad rap.
I'm not crazy about them. I love Joe Walsh, but I'm not crazy about the Eagles. Hotel California, though, is one of the greatest records ever made. So don't get me wrong. That's going to be on. If we are talking about let's do the top 10 albums next time. Our top
Okay.
10 albums.
I like this like ranking of things, as you can see. I'm like, oh wait, you want me to rank the top American bands? Oh, I'm gonna do that. And you're
No,
giving it to me on the fly, but man, I had an answer.
I
But we're
want,
gonna talk about the Seattle band separately. I really I want to do a deep dive on those guys because they influenced all of my college days. Like high school was Led Zeppelin, college was Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots. I
you
don't
must
really
have,
remember
you
Jane's
must,
Addiction all that much.
you must have liked Soundgarden, Chris Cornell. I mean, he seems like someone you would be all googly-eyed over.
I wasn't a grunge girl in college when everybody else was grunge and like all going to these shows. I mean, I didn't really do a lot of music in college because I was so focused on my, fashion
Hanging out with the
major.
sorority sisters.
Well, no, I was really focused on my studies. Like, yes, I partied. I didn't party as hard as all my friends. I took 18 credits and I had three jobs in college. Yep. I was very focused. I was very driven. I knew
Okay, you're
exactly what I
you're
wanted to do.
energizing, you're energy vampiring me right now.
Am I?
No, I'm just kidding.
That would be like you telling me that that's the worst thing you could ever say to me.
I had more credits and I had three jobs,
Oh, I see what you mean.
18 fucking credits. And
Oh
I was
shit.
also getting laid a lot too. So I was doing it all in college.
Oh, okay. I see what you're
Hey,
saying.
well, I
No,
was at the fucking college radio station, okay?
no, I wasn't trying to one
And,
up you. I
and I wrote for
really
my
was.
college newspaper too, okay? And I had a
No, I'm just trying to
2.3
say
cube,
I didn't
okay?
go out and listen to live music like I do now.
I'm
No,
teasing. I'm teasing.
I wasn't trying to one up you. That was like hardly my point. But if I one upped you, then I apologize.
I'm
No, it
only
was
teasing you.
I know, but I take that very seriously. No, for me it was just I want people to understand like getting straight A's in college was like kind of a thing for me.
I believe it. You're kind of a perfectionist in a lot of ways, I would say.
I was then. I was then. I have let that go a little bit in my adult life, but I was then. Okay, should we wrap this up? We're
Yeah,
almost at two
because it's
hours.
been an hour.
We're almost at 2 hours, my love.
Just so you folks out there will know, I always say, let's keep this one to an hour. And here we are at fucking 2 hours now. But
No,
oh
we're
well.
not at quite. We're at 130, 143 again. 143. We're
Uh-oh.
at 143
Every
again, my
episode's going to
brother.
be 143 from now on.
Oh, listen, you know what 143 means? I love you. I love you,
I
Steve.
love
You are a
you.
good friend, and
You're a good friend to
I
me.
appreciate our I just appreciate our vibes these days. You're
It's a
doing
love
really well.
fest.
You're doing really well in life. You're winning in life right now.
Ladies, check out my birthmark, ladies, and look
Oh,
at
I
that
didn't know you had a
bicep.
birthmark. That's a good bicep, by the way.
Oh, I got a cramp in my arm. It shows you how
He
often
just
I
did a
flex my
muscle. He
muscles.
made him. Wait, can I show you my muscle then? Wait, he just did a muscle and he
What? Hold on a
got a
second.
cramp.
This is
Oh,
like supposed to be PG rated. What the?
look at
Holy
that muscle.
shit.
I gotta
Oh, I
wait.
see
I gotta
what you're
look.
doing.
I'm gonna one up you with my muscle.
All right, say
Oh,
something good and let's get out of here.
all right. So anyway, remember, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. That's what I want to end our podcast on today.
Groovy, man.
That's it. That's it, man.
Peace.
Groovy dude.
Bye.
Peace out.